Okay, Mr. Chairman, we are ready to go.
Good evening, everyone. And welcome. The December 8th, 2020 Liquor Board hearing is now in session. The first order of business, the board has all meetings transcribed which serve as minutes of the hearings. The board keeps such minutes stored electronically, and they're available to review by calling the board for an appointment. I'll make a motion that the transcripts of the previous board hearing held on November 17th, 2020, be accepted as the board minutes for that date. And I ask for a second.
Commissioner Duffy, second.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye, Commissioner
Aye.
Duffy.
The motion carries. Two announcements. The Muse Paint Bar application for transfer has been postponed until December 22nd hearing. And also there has been public testimony submitted in favor of wildfire application, which has been entered into the record. And now I'd like to turn the meeting over to Mr. Dales for announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. My name is Phil Dales. I'm co-counsel with Harry Blumenthal. At the beginning of every meeting, Board Council makes two announcements. The first is that the commissioners are part-time public service and they have other outside interests. So when they know they have a conflict of interest arising from those outside interests or the appearance of a conflict of interest, they will recuse themselves from this hearing. They cannot possibly know who will appear from the public in any given matter, which may present a conflict of interest for them. If anybody believes that a commissioner has a conflict of interest in any matter, you have to announce that to us, and the commissioner or commissioners, as the case may be, will deal with that accordingly. If not, the commissioners will proceed with all hearings under the supposition that there is no conflict of interest. The second announcement is that the rules of the board provide that the chair, for purposes of administrative and judicial economy, can have board counsel, which is me, rule on admissibility of evidence and objections if there are counsel present and objections made. This board handles a multiplicity of cases at every hearing, and the assignment of this duty allows us to expedite hearings as necessary. So rather than the chairman turning to me or I advising the chairman after he asks, I'll simply make a ruling, and that ruling will be that of the chair. Last, a special announcement for modern times. This is a COVID-19 hearing, and our rules are published online. Anyone from the public can read them. The public can also participate in these hearings, but only by written statement presented to the board prior to the board hearing. Commissioners have read all applications, all exhibits submitted with the applications, including floor plans, documentations, and things of that nature. All statements submitted by the public. There have been no statements submitted by the public with regard to some of these hearings, and there has been some special announcements about other testimony that has been offered. There will be no public personal participation other than by written statement. With that, I'll turn the matter back to our Chief Inspector, who will call the first case for the evening.
Thank you, Mr. Dales. First case this evening is Jackie Liquors. We do have one excused person. That's Min Young Zin, Assistant Secretary, has been excused from this hearing. Jackie's Liquors, known as JPC Liquors, Inc. Bin Long Cheng, President, Secretary, and Treasurer. Min Young Zhang is excused. Detective Kessler, number 1744. Detective T. Middleton, number 1061. Sergeant White, number 1329. All of the Anne Arundel County Police Department, and Inspector Karen Klein. This is a violation hearing, violations of the rules and regulations of the Board of Licensed Commissioners for Anne Arundel County, Chapter 4, Section 4.01A, minors, referencing Anne Arundel County Police Report number 20-734033 by Detective Kessler, number 1744, Sergeant White, and number 1329 in Detective Middleton. Number 1061, this incident occurred on October 19th, 2020. This is a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license, Music Sunday license located at 3392 Fort Meade Road, Laurel, Maryland, 20724. There's no restrictions on this license at present. The second violation is alcoholic beverage 1, Title 1 through 12, the annotated Code of Maryland, Title 6, Section 6-304, selling or providing alcoholic beverages to an individual under the age of 21 years. Reference Anne Arundel County Police Report number 20-734033 by Detective Kessler, number 1744, Sergeant White, number 1329, Detective Middleton, number 1061. That incident is dated October 19th, 2020. Anyone wishing to testify for or against, I'm going to ask to be brought into the panel. Anyone and everyone who is going to be testifying for or against, please raise your right hand.
Yeah, wait a minute, Mr. Harris.
Yes.
The licensee, I promoted to a panelist and they were, I guess, tossed out. So let's give them a chance to see if they
Sure.
can.
All right,
get
you'll
back
let me
in.
know, Mr. Aronson. I'll take it from there.
And Detective Middleton, did I bring you in?
Yes, Detective Middleton is here.
Okay, I had two numbers, so I just guessed. And I made the right guess. So let's
Yep.
see if,
And Detective Kessler looks like he's here, but his audio is off. Right
yeah.
now.
But Ping Long Cheng is not here.
I think I'm going to be the only one testifying, Detective Middleton.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chang, Pen Long Chang, are you present?
No, they are not present.
Sounds like a technical difficulty. Let's continue to wait for a moment.
Sure.
Yeah, they were here, but now they've left. So I don't know if they got kicked off. Hopefully they're trying to log back on. Can we go? Oh, okay, now they're there. Let me try this again. Okay, there we go. I will
Mr.
ask,
Chang,
unmute. Go ahead.
Yes, this is Pin Chang from Jackie's Liquors.
sir, can you turn your video on?
Start video.
There
Yes.
you go. Now we see you. Thank you. At this time, I call for any witnesses that are going to be testifying for or against in this particular case. Assuming that everybody who is going to testify is there, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand, please. Mr. Chang.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. That would be
Thank you.
me.
Okay, yeah, that would be. Do you solemnly declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please state your name and your address for the record, Mr. Chang.
My name is Pin Lang Chang, and my address is 805 Royal Crescent, Rockville, Maryland, 20850.
Okay. Detectives, could I ask you to please identify yourself for the record?
Yes, sir. Detective Thomas Middleton, Anne Arundel County Police Department. ID number is 1061, and I'm at a Western District in Odenton, Maryland.
Thank you. Detective Kessler? Okay.
Muted.
He is muted. Detective Middleton is the only one testifying, Mr. Dales.
All right, Detective Middleton, since this is a COVID-19 hearing, there's no waiving of cases. If you could proceed to read the case, we could start.
Yes. Good evening, Board. Detective Middleton, Anne Arundel County Police Department. This was on October 19th of 2020 this year at approximately 12:45 hours in the afternoon. Myself and other detectives, Detective Kessler and Sergeant White, were working what we'll call Operation Save, conducting alcohol sales compliance checks at retail businesses. We directed a confidential source, a 20 years of age female, to enter the Jackie's Liquor Store, 3392 Laurel, Fort Meade Road in Laurel, Anne Arundel County, Maryland. We observed the confidential source enter the business. She went into the store, picked out a bottle of Malibu Mango Rum, took it to the front counter. Our confidential source was given official Anne Arundel County funds and was able to purchase the Malibu Mango from the clerk. The clerk did not ask our confidential source for any identification. She exited the business, immediately turned over the alcoholic beverage to us in the vehicle. I know through my training, knowledge, and experience that Malibu Mango is alcoholic beverage. Our Detective Kessler and myself entered the store, identified ourselves as police officers, and identified the clerk as Key Kim with the birth date of April 8th, 1974, from his Maryland driver's license. Kim advised that he forgot to card the confidential source, and I also asked if there was an ID scanner or system that advises the clerk to ask for identification. Mr. Kim stated no. A photograph was taken of Kim in his driver's license, and I attached them to the report that was submitted to the board, and also took a photograph of the Malibu Mango and a photograph of the Anne Arundel County liquor license that was hanging on the wall behind the cashier's area. Just wanted to note that our confidential source, she was searched before and after the transaction in the store. She did not have any other money or identification on her, and we verified her through the Department of Motor Vehicles with us. We were able to certify that her date of birth was October 1st of 2000. So she had just turned 20 just prior to this incident. And I would just say that all events occurred in Laurel and Arundel County, Maryland.
Thank you, Detective. Is there an additional report? Does that conclude your testimony?
That concludes my testimony.
Okay, thank you very much. To the respondent, licensee Chung, do you have any questions for the detective?
I do not at this time.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, do you have questions for the detective?
I don't have any at this time either.
Other member of the board, Mr. Duffy, do you have?
Yes, I have one question for the detective in reference to if the owner or the clerk at that time was cooperative in reference to his response and being cited at that particular time.
Yes, he was very cooperative.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Chung, you can now proceed with your case either by proffer or by testimony, any combination thereof. Go ahead and feel free to address the board when you're ready.
I personally was not present when the purchase was made, but I was informed shortly after. I do not dispute what the detectives and Sergeant White found what was just read to us. I admit that it was an error on my end, and we have tried to take in a few small steps to avoid this from happening in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Chung. Is that the conclusion of your testimony?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Chairman, do you have questions for Mr. Chung?
How long have you been in business there?
Here, I've been the licensee since approximately July of 2019.
So you're pretty new. Okay. Let me ask you, first of all, what do you think? Where do you think the breakdown was with regard to Mr. Kim and that confidential source? Hello, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. The breakdown, it could have been just an error judgment in determining if the purchaser was of age, and based on his judgment, he did not card just because he felt that she was of age.
Mr. Chairman, we've lost your audio.
I'm sorry?
There you go. You're back. Could not hear that last statement. Restate the last sentence.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Who do you need to hear from?
Mr. Chairman, you were speaking. We could see you were speaking, but I don't think any of us could hear you.
Okay.
Chief Inspector Harris, all right?
Yeah. What steps have you taken so this doesn't happen again? You mentioned that you've taken some steps. What are they?
Currently, Mr. Kim, his alcohol awareness course certificate has not expired. However, I've already re-enrolled, and he has already taken a course with John Murray, and also at the same time another clerk whose certificate has recently expired. They have both taken the course with Mr. John Murray, and that the proof of the course was already mailed to the board's address in Riva Road. And my hope is that this is a one-time thing and it will not occur again.
Okay, that's all the questions I have at the moment.
Right, Mr. Duffy, do you have questions?
Yes, I do, and thank you, Mr. Dale. I just have one question for the owner, and that is, in reference to the steps that you are taking, have you considered purchasing an ID scanner?
Yes,
That
yes,
would,
yes.
okay,
I've been looking at a few options to see which one fits, I guess, the business the most appropriately. I've been looking at a few places to see which one is the best, and I've almost settled on a smaller handheld one that can scan ID and determine the age and the basic information off the ID.
okay. I would suggest and hope that you would entertain the idea to be proactive so that this incident would not occur again. And one of the ways would be to purchase an ID scanner.
Yes.
So I do thank you for being cooperative with the police in reference to your violation. So thank you very much.
All right. So is that all questions from the board members?
That's all the question I have, sir.
Okay, we will turn the record closed and turn the meeting to deliberation by members of the board.
I'm going to make a motion that we fine Jackie's Liquor $250 and court costs. Is there a second?
I second the motion. This is Commissioner Duffy.
Sorry, we got the background there. Mr. Chairman, did you call the vote? Yeah, I can't hear.
I was just checking to see if there were any additional discussion.
No.
No, okay. I have a second. Those in favor, say aye.
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 Commissioner Duffy.
Carried.
Thank you, everyone. Going to call the next case. Next case is a COVID violation. It is the Red Parrot Asian Bistro. Mr. Aronson's going to bring the witnesses in. This is known as Yin 2 LLC, Wap Tawang. Managing member, Michael F. York, the member, and the inspector is Donald Morris. This is a Class H license, beer, wine, and liquor. Music and Sunday special license. Our address is 7698 Dorchester Boulevard, Hanover, Maryland, 21076. We have 4 violations. The first being violation of the rules and regulations of the Board of License Commissioners for Anne Arundel County, Chapter 3, Section 3.09, Public Welfare. Reference the Board of License Commissioners for Anne Arundel County violation notice number 1478, supplement report dated October 7th, 2020. The second violation is the rules and regulations of the Board License Commissioners for Anne Arundel County, Chapter 3, Section 3.05, Sanitation and Safety. Reference the Board of License Commissioner for Anne Arundel County, violation notice 1478, supplement report dated October 7th, 2020. The third being violation of the rules and regulations of the Board of License Commissioners for Anne Arundel County, Chapter 3, Section 3.01C, which is ownership and operation. Reference the Board of License Commissioners for Anne Arundel County, violation number 1479. Supplement reported dated October 7th of 2020. The fourth and last is a violation of the rules and regulations of the Board of License Commissioners for Anne Arundel County. Chapter 3, Section 4.16, which is illegal conduct. RE, the Board of License Commissioners for Anne Arundel County, violation notice 1478. Supplement report dated October 7th, 2020. There is a restriction on this license dated 2/4/2009, which says 51% of the food versus 49% alcohol and no more than 10 seats at the bar. Okay, anyone wishing to testify for and against, please, if you can, turn your video on, raise your right hand, please. Okay, Mr. Worth, are you with us?
Well,
You're muted, sir. Mr. Wong, you're also muted. And so is Ed, but all right, please unmute your microphones. And if you can, turn your video on.
I've sent messages to both of them to
Okay,
do
thank
so.
you, Ed.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Is that Mr. Worth?
Yes, it is.
I can hear you, Mr. Worth. Okay, Mr. Wong?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now too. If you can, gentlemen, please turn your video on. If not, I'm going to go ahead and give you the oath. I'm assuming you're raising your right hand and swearing to the following. Do you solemnly declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury, thank you both, that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please, both of you, please state your name and addresses for the record.
My name is Michael Francis Worth. I live at 432 Manor Road, Warner, Maryland, 21012.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Wong?
Name is Mr. Wong. Address 7698 Dorchester Boulevard, Hanover, Maryland.
That's okay. Are you going to be testifying, ma'am? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'll be testifying to them. I'm the wife. My name is Yan Wan Chang. Address 5401 Bucksaw Court, Columbia, Maryland, 21044.
Thank you very much. Inspector Morris, please identify yourself.
Yes, sir. Chief Harris. My name is Donald Morris. Address is 2660 Riva Road, Suite 306, Annapolis, Maryland. Inspector for Arundel County Board of License Commissioners covering the Arundel Mills area.
Thank you. All yours, Mr. Dales.
Inspector Harris, Inspector Morris, could you please read the report, the record for the board?
Yes, sir. So report was filed on 7 October. It was a follow-up to several other visits. As part of the report that was submitted with some background information, on 10 September 2020, the Bureau of Environmental Health Food Protection Services had received a complaint against the establishment, citing that some employees were removing masks to talk and the entire kitchen staff was not wearing a mask on Friday, September 4th. On September 14th, following up on that complaint, I paid a visit to the establishment and spoke with Mr. Wong, who was on duty, and acknowledged the issue and that was working to address it. There was a misunderstanding, as told to me, about the back employee requirement for the mask. I told him that at that time, the mask was required at all locations inside the facility. On 2 October, I did another follow-up and found one employee behind the counter and had to remind him to pull up his mask. So on the date of 7 October, I paid a visit to the establishment at approximately 1700 hours as part of a routine compliance check in response to that complaint, still following up in 4 September, in reference to the non-compliance of the governor's orders. This would be my third visit within 30 days since receiving the complaint. Upon entering the establishment, I was greeted by a host just inside the door. I identified myself with my badge and my business card as the county liquor inspector. I asked to speak to the manager on duty and was informed there was no manager on duty at the time. I then informed the host that I was going to perform a walkthrough and observation of the establishment to include the bar and kitchen area. As I entered the kitchen area, I immediately noticed two employees not wearing facial coverings. Two pictures had been submitted with my report of those employees. The female employee approached me to ask what I was looking for as the young male employee went reaching for his mask. I stated I was the county liquor inspector and wanted to know why she wasn't wearing a mask. She replied that they were not required to wear the mask in the kitchen. I informed her that her information was incorrect and every employee in the establishment is required to wear a mask covering, as required by the governor and the county executive orders. She proceeded to pull out a mask at that time and put it on her face. As I departed the establishment, I informed the host that I would be returning to speak with the owner or manager to discuss the incident. I then contacted Chief Harris to discuss the incident to seek further guidance. At approximately 19:30 hours on the same day, I returned to the establishment and spoke with Mr. Wong. I informed him of the incident and reminded him that I had previously visited the establishment in the past 30 days to discuss the complaint filed and the need for safety measures to protect the employees and the customers. Mr. Wong showed me the changes that they had made to include temperature check logs of every employee and how it was posted at the front door. He stated that he believed the employees not wearing the facial coverings were confused. At that time, I informed Mr. Wong that I would be issuing 2 violations, as referenced by Chief Harris, 1478, 1479, to cover the charges stated above. Mr. Wong informed me that he disagreed with the charges and would be calling the chief to discuss. I thank Mr. Wong for his time and part of the establishment at approximately 2,000 hours. For the record, during this meeting with management, the staff at the Red Parrot, I found them to be professional and courteous at all times. Respectfully submitted, Inspector Morris.
Thank you, Inspector Morris. That concludes your report. I'm going to ask Chief Inspector Harris to tell the board of his knowledge of this report, if he has knowledge of it, and then to inform the board of his knowledge of the executive order and rules that are pertinent to this report from both the governor's executive orders and the county executive's executive orders. Chief Inspector Harris, do you have knowledge of this report?
Chief Harris, yes, I do have knowledge of the report, and I did dispatch Inspector Morris back to the establishment with the sole purpose of making sure that Mr. Wong and the staff there did understand the rules and regulations thoroughly. And as he stated in his report, he did so several times and kept me abreast of everything that took place. And Inspector Morris is correct. Under the mandates of the governor's proclamation, the health department guidance under Dr. Malash K and the county executive orders, they are required to wear a mask anytime they're in the business with any other employee at all, whether they're in the kitchen area, the main lobby, restaurant, or eating area. The only people excused from wearing the mask are those who are indulged in the consumption of food and beverage, and only at that time.
Thank you, Harris. And so now I'll ask whether the licensee, the respondent, has any questions for the inspector or the chief. Mr. Wong,
Yeah,
or have any questions directly to
we, first of all, we try to comply all the time, but in
hang
the
on,
kitchen,
if you have questions regarding the testimony that was just given, now's the time. You'll have additional opportunity to address the board with your statements in a moment. Any questions regarding what was just said?
no,
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Chairman, any questions for the inspector or the chief? No?
I have no questions.
Okay, Commissioner Duffy.
No, I just want to compliment Mr. Morris in reference to ending his statement with the fact that the owner were very cooperative and during the whole process. Thank you very much for including that.
All right, and now to the respondent licensees, Mr. Worth, Mr. Wong, Ms. Wong, please decide which of you will address the board first, and then provide them with either testimony or proffer or any combination thereof to state your case.
okay. I can't hear it, sorry.
I cannot hear what you, can you repeat what you said?
Sorry.
Mr. Wong, Ms. Wong, it seems you will testify first. You now present your testimony or proffer to the board to explain your side of this case, either by your testimony or proffer, which is to offer a fact to the board as proffered true.
Well, we understand the whole thing about the pandemic is very confusing because I've heard different interpretation about who's supposed to wear masks. That's why that we try to train everybody and we all try to comply with the law. We train everybody in case of the inspection, and we work 7 days a week. We try to make everything happening. But unfortunately, you know, some of the guidelines is just open for interpretation. It's not clear to us. And we try to comply the law. Every time the inspector, we cooperate here, we try to make change. We try to make really, right now we only 50% operate right now, you know, and we're understaffed. And that's why I said I totally disagree with the whole pandemic COVID-19 thing. Is just confused the hell out of me.
Thank you, Mr. Wong. Ms. Wong, do you have anything to add?
No.
Oh, yeah, okay, so we like for the, about the, you were talking about nobody, the people were not trained there. We train 5-6 people that have license of manage the thing, but a lot of people left already. Only me and my husband work 7 days a week, then we have some few staff. So sometimes we have to go buy some stuff running down to Safeway or Costco to do that. So that's why you say nobody was here. We were here 7 days a week. And then about the mask and in the kitchen, we only have 2 staff. One is a helper, one is a chef. The chef was trying to wearing the mask, but the fume is so much for cooking Asian food.
It's hard to breathe.
It's hard for her to breathe. So she take off the mask. She's not able to stand that. And she's changing like 5-6 masks a day, but it's still not able to help her. So we told her, and she took it off because she said it's hard for her to do that, like during cooking. So, well, you know, now she's not even work for us because she was kind of upset. Now I have to go to work and another person. This is what the situation is right now.
Mr. and Mrs. Wong, Ms. Wong, does that conclude your testimony?
No, that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Worth, do you have anything to add?
No, I didn't know anything of the violations until like last Thursday. So this is the first I've heard about it. So I'm here. I didn't know anything.
Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, do you have any questions for the licensee respondents?
I do. This is the chairman. First of all, Mr. Worth, what is your function?
Mr. Worth, what is your function?
Yeah, what do you do for the restaurant?
I'm just a solemn partner.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I wanted to go back to Mrs. Wong. You talked about the individual not being able to wear the mask in the kitchen.
That's how she explained to me.
But the issue here, as I see it, is you had several attempts by our inspector to eliminate the confusion. It seems to me that on several occasions, he basically said, you need to wear a mask. And
Yes,
if he
we
quoted
did.
our good governor, you need to wear the blank mask. So I don't know where the confusion on that particular issue came from. Maybe you can help me a little bit.
The confusion is the way they interpret the law. Somebody said all the people in the dining room wear masks except the kitchen. That's how we interpret the law.
And one of the, I swear to God, that one of the inspector that you have and come and say, it's okay, so just the people in the front, not the people in the kitchen.
That's the reason about confusing about how they interpret the law is totally different.
Well,
You follow me?
I definitely follow you, but
I know,
I'm
I'm
looking
sorry.
at a testimony that says you were told to wear the mask a number of times.
We
It's not
did,
like-
in front of us, she did. And then, she took it off because she hard for her to breathe, and so she keep on changing it, and then I can be there to, watch her cooking,
Right.
all the hours.
I can appreciate that.
And she doesn't work here anymore, so then that's the whole situation.
Okay. I have no more questions.
I have no more questions.
Commissioner Duffy, do you have any questions for the respondent licensees?
Okay, I say something.
My only concern, in reference to, the testimony of, the inspector as well as, the owners, and not so much, the silent owner, but the individuals had an opportunity after 3 visits by the inspector to correct, and a follow-up within 30 days to correct their violation, to correct the issue that was being addressed, wearing of the mask. And I would love to know who was the other inspector other than, Ms. Morris, that came to visit you, that told you that you had the right, not to wear the mask in the kitchen. If there was another inspector other than Mr. Morris that came to visit you, I would love to know who that inspector was, because you stated on the oath that another inspector told you, not to wear the mask in the kitchen.
I don't
And
know
both
any of the
myself
names.
and the chairman would love to know who that individual could have been. Other than that, you had the opportunity, to comply 100% with the 3 visits that Mr. Morris conducted in order to rectify the complaint and to address the complaint earlier. And there was no attempt whatsoever to address the complaint. So, Mr. Dale, I have no other comments other than the ones that I just stated.
Thank you very much, members of the board. That being all the testimony, we'll declare the public record for this hearing closed and turn the hearing to deliberation and decision by the board.
I don't know any of the names.
Ms.
Except Miss Harris, Wayne Harris, the only person I can recognize.
Thank you, Ms. Palmer. We're closing the public testimony portion of the hearing. This portion will now be the board members deliberating over the facts they've heard and deciding what the outcome will be on this violation.
Thank you.
This is Chairman Maloney again. Just going to reiterate the governor requested, or I should say the county executive and the health department, that the inspectors go out and pretty much look for any violations, and we basically did that. And they issued the first violation to be $500. Obviously, there were more than one situation that you have here where you were in violation of that executive order and compliance. So I'm gonna move that we fine you $500 and court costs. And I wish to hear a second.
I second.
Okay, any additional discussion?
Well, the other than we try to.
Sorry.
Okay, the motion's there, it's seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion is carried.
Okay, if I may, Mr. Wong, I notice you have people in your establishment. I recognize the background. I know you're in your establishment at present and you're not wearing that mask. You really need to keep it up as your wife has. You've had it down on this the entire hearing, and I did see people walking around your establishment. So please, you'll have to learn to do that as well. All right, thank you. Okay, we're going to call the next case. This is the Caracidi Greek Kitchen. The administrator will bring the witnesses in. This is known as Privacis LLC. Michael Gerasimu, president, and the inspector is Inspector Alan Levy. This is a new license, and it's located at 2478 Solomon's Island Road, Annapolis, Maryland 21401. It's a Class H license for beer and wine. Anyone wishing to testify for or against, please turn on your audio and your video and raise your right hands, please.
You can wait a second.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm having trouble get the video on. That's a second.
Okay, we do have video now.
Hello, can you hear?
Yes, we have audio as well.
Okay, great.
I'm going to ask you to raise your right hands. Anyone wishing to testify for or against? And then, do you solemnly declare? Keep your right hand. That's it. Do you solemnly declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please state your name and your address, sir, for the record.
My name is Michael Gerasimu. My address for the company or
Home.
my home address is 541 Francis Nicholson Way, Annapolis, Maryland.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else testify? Okay, Mr. Oh, yes.
I'm here in case you need anything. I'm the general manager. I'm the one who put the process together. So should I?
I think go ahead and state your name and address for the record as well.
My name is Antonio Scarampas. I'm 4242 East West Highway in Bethesda, Maryland.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Dales?
If you're representing yourselves tonight, gentlemen, then the floor is now yours to present either testimony or proffer to the board in support of your application. So go ahead and present either testimony or proffer or a combination thereof.
Yes, we have opened right before COVID started in February, and to put an application earlier. Obviously, the board was closed. We serve Greek food. We are a family-based business. We just opened up, and as you may know, Greek food definitely goes well with beer and wine, and we have a lot of requests for it. So we would like to be able to add that to our menu. We are a fast casual restaurant. We don't have a bar or anything. It'll be just a simple handing over the counter to whoever is eligible to get alcohol. And that's the reason we are requesting the license for.
Okay. Is there any additional testimony or is that it for testimony by the applicant?
No, not at the moment.
All right. Mr. Chairman, do you have questions for the applicant?
I do. How long have you held a license before, prior?
No, we have not. We just opened in February 2020.
Okay.
Right
so
before.
You're currently open.
Yes.
And you're just looking for a wine and beer license.
Correct.
Okay. Have you been trained on alcohol awareness?
I personally have, yes.
Okay.
In Washington D.C. before.
All right. Now, what are your plans for your servers with regard to that course?
They're all going to go through. They're all going to go through a training, and our owner here and manager will take the courses to be able to serve.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Should not be questions.
Yes, just well, are you going to retain the same hours of operation?
We are looking to retain the same hours at the moment. for the time being, yes.
For the time being.
Meaning when
Okay.
capacity, hopefully when capacity and everything, this whole thing goes away, when we can actually raise capacity, we might go to 9:30. That's the latest we'll ever go, though. That was the original hours that we had when we first opened.
Okay. And so you will continue to serve 2 meals daily along with the beer and wine.
Correct.
Okay. As long as the hours going to remain the same and you, the 2 meals will be served daily, I have no other questions, Mr. Dillon.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I just have one other question, just for the record here. You say you opened in February?
Yes.
Yeah, and let me ask you the $64,000 question. How is business now?
It's tough, but we have found a way to balance it. So
It was tough in the beginning. We balanced it the past 6 months. It actually has been going pretty well. But again, could be looking a little better, but we're at a steady pace right now. So we're actually doing not bad.
Good. I have no other questions.
All right, so we'll declare the public testimony record closed, and we'll move to deliberation and a decision by the members of the board.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we grant the license. And looking for a second.
I'll second the approval.
All those in favor? Say
Aye, Commissioner
aye.
Duffy.
The motion is carried. Good luck to you guys.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Good luck.
We hope to see you all soon too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Okay, calling the next case. Ford Doghouse, known as Ford Doghouse LLC. Anajotis, Olupus member, Eric C. Davy, a member, Jonathan C. Pastrick, member, and the inspector would be Alvin Few. This is a new license located at 722 Generals Highway, Millersville, Maryland, 21108. They're requesting a Class B for beer, wine, and liquor, and dancing and Sunday with outdoor dining. Anyone wishing to testify for or against, please turn your video and audio on and raise your right hand, please. We'll give you a minute to do that. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Davy. Okay, very good. Thank you, sir. And Eric Davy. So we have two. Mr. Davy, can you turn your, there you go. Thank you. How about your audio now, sir? Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask everyone who's going to testify for or against to please raise your right hand. Yes, please. Do you solemnly declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, do.
Okay, please one at a time state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brian Lyman, L-Y-M-A-N. I'm counsel for the applicants.
Jonathan E. Pasterick. My address is 407 Fair Hill Court, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403.
Thank you.
Anajotis Alupus, 6113 Green Tree Road, Bethesda, Maryland, 20817.
Thank you.
Davy, 15100 Old Dale Road, Centerville, Virginia.
Thank you. Is Ms. Olupus, I believe, are you going to testify, ma'am?
I don't need to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Davy, Mr. Dales, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chief Harris. So I see the applicants represented by counsel. Mr. Lyman, proceed with your case by testimony of the witnesses or proffers or a combination thereof. And then the board may have questions.
Thank you, Mr. Dales. I'll proceed by way of a proffer. I think that's probably the easiest thing to do. I'd start out by asking each of the witnesses to affirm that the answers they've given on the application are true and correct as of this moment, as was the case when they signed the application in early October. Would you each do that, please?
Yes.
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 Thank you. And to the board, let me give a little bit of introduction here. This is a new application for a facility that has had a liquor license in an operating restaurant for a great number of years. It's known throughout the county as Doors Corner at 722 Generals Highway. In Millersville, it's at the corner of General and Veterans Highway. And the board probably remembers this particular facility in the Gina's Cantina drama that I was involved with several months back, which ultimately was resolved between the landlord, Arundel Associates Inc. and Gina's Cantina. Mr. Lupus and Mr. Pasteric were actually approved for a transfer of that license. It's the identical license that is being sought tonight, a Class B beer, wine, and liquor, dancing and Sundays license. Logistically, given COVID and the fact that Mr. Lupus and his company were able to find a new tenant basically for the facility, we went straight for the permits approval process with the county in the name of the LLC rather than having Anne Arundel Associates attempt to open, pick up their license, serve a drink. And so we're here basically for a new license that matches the old license that existed for many years at this establishment. I understand it was known as VJG's Rib Restaurant, and then it became the Lupus Rib Inn. It was Sheila's Joe's, and then it was Gina's Cantina for 15 years, all successfully and appropriately serving alcohol and meals at Doors Corner here in Anne Arundel County, serving the public. I believe the fact that Gina's was granted a license, I think you'll recall, Commissioner Duffy and Mr. Maloney, about 100 yards north of this facility. And then the transfer of that old Gina's license was approved to Mr. Lupus and Mr. Pasteric. As I said, they never picked the license up. What we have tonight is a description of a new restaurant concept. It's going to be called Core Doghouse. The food concept here is that the classic American hot dog is going to be offered in about 10 different varieties, from half smokes and sausages to classic American dogs with gourmet toppings and what have you. It is going to be offered with sides, French fries, salads. You'll get your burger. It's basically general pub fare, as distinguished from Gina's, which continues to be Mexican, Tex-Mex fare for the most part. The concept here for this restaurant and the group that Mr. Lupus was able to find, I think is pretty excited about trying to open a restaurant here to complement Gina's and to complement the other, I guess, potential competitor, which would be Libations. That's about almost 2 miles up the road north on Veterans Highway. The closest liquor store is Waterbury Liquors. It's about 1.5 miles or more, a little bit more, I think, down Generals Highway, the opposite direction. So essentially, those are the potential impact on the licenses. I think that as long as we've got complimentary food selections, that having 2 establishments in this locale is probably appropriate and suitable for the public, and certainly would fit a public need. If either one of those establishments becomes overcrowded or has a full dining room, as may be the case these days at 25% capacity, that's not many folks. They're hoping to get this restaurant open as soon as mid-January. That's what I've been instructed. They've had a massive amount of construction and rehabilitation that they've invested in the property. I'd be happy to supplement our application and provide the board a few pictures. I didn't get them in time to provide them in advance of the hearing, but the interior has got new floors that are being put in. There's been a new facing put on the bar. You've been provided with the plans that were submitted and approved to Anne Arundel County for a 70-seat restaurant. That includes 12 seats at a bar. The layout is the same as the board previously allowed Gina's to operate, as well as the exterior patio area, which will be inside the same fenced enclosure. I did supply a supplement, I think, that kind of highlights the footage between the nearest educational facility, which is Strayer University. I guess it's satellite campus or something that's all the way across I-97. So there's going to be no possible pedestrian traffic from this potential carryout license to that university. And the outdoor areas where they anticipate live entertainment and local music. The applicants that you have before you, I think, are fit and proper persons. The board has approved Mr. Lucas and Mr. Pasteric in the past. Mr. Davey is part of an experienced restaurant group that has operated an establishment in Northern Virginia, a steakhouse that's known as the V Eatery and Brew House in Virginia. The other owners whose financial forms you have in the application, there's a pair of brothers, Alston brothers, Hakeem and Shaw Alston. Shaw Alston is going to be the main operator, as I understand it. We'll have a management agreement put in place. Unfortunately, we had hoped to have them, the Alston brothers, here to present concept and the menu and the restaurant business plan. However, unfortunately, their sisters recently passed away and they were unable to attend tonight. So I'll have to ask Mr. Davey if he has any supplements that can describe the business plan and the menu choices and need for alcoholic beverages for their business plan. Mr. Davey?
Very nice to meet everybody. Hope everybody's staying safe. Yeah, as you mentioned, I'm not a very good public speaker. Hakeem is that man, but I'll try to do my best to help you guys understand our concept. So, you know, we found this amazing standalone facility that we drove by with great landlords that are actually helping us along the way right now build this out. You know, with COVID and everything, it's been very trying. We started this sort of right around when COVID started. We already had our funds and capitalized and things like that. So we've come up with an amazing concept that we think will work really well in this community. We've done our due diligence. We've done our homework. You know, we are veterans at this game. You know, myself, 20 years experience, Hakeem, 20 years experience, many restaurants. My family, all of them own restaurants. So we're rule followers. We're very focused on making sure we do things right, cleanliness. We work with the health department right now within Anne Arundel County on a daily basis, make sure that we're following all rules and regulations. So basically, yeah, Brian touched on it a little bit. Our concept is very simple. We're sort of pairing local, fresh hot dogs and sausages with local craft beers, local craft breweries. And basically, we have a chef that's created this amazing menu with these great, amazing flavors, something that I've never really tasted before. It'll be something really, really cool for the community. And we look forward to bringing that here. The need for alcohol, as you can tell, is our craft beers and so forth. We're going to bring a nightlife. We have a very experienced nightlife crowd and promoters, and we work with local vendors and communities. We're also very dog friendly, as you can tell by the name. We'll be a pet friendly environment and for the outside. So we'll be working with local charities, local foundations and so forth. So we really want to be a big community-based, family-oriented atmosphere for our patrons. And we're big on quality, right? So we don't really focus on, you know, quantity. It's more about the quality of it. So we have 8 to 10 menu items that are, you know, we put a lot of love into it. And yeah, so we hope that everybody enjoys it.
I don't have anything further as far as the presentation goes. I don't believe. I'm happy to, if the board wants to hear a more specific sort of itemized, item by item address of the requirements under alcoholic beverages 4210. But I think we've touched on each of those factors without me getting into the gory details of the statute. I'm happy to open it up to questions from the chairman and from Mr. Duffy.
Thank you, Mr. Lyman. Chairman Maloney, start question for Chair.
I know what pet friendly is, but I was wondering what you were gonna do pet friendly in the restaurant.
Not inside, outside.
Inside, outside. So if I bring my dog for dinner, can I get him, can we serve him?
So, yeah. No.
That's all right. As far as the alcohol awareness training, what are your
I
plans?
already took that. My general manager has already took that.
Okay.
And we have multiple, so I have the ability to actually train anybody that comes in as well. So does my general manager. So anybody that comes in will be trained. Yes.
Great. Okay. I have no other questions.
Commissioner Duffy, you're on mute. You might unmute first, and then any questions, Mr. Lima? Yeah.
Yes, I have one question for Mr. Lama. You indicated and stated that you had did an assessment in reference to a need for this establishment. I didn't see that in the package in and of itself.
There is no formal need assessment. I simply mentioned the factors in 1410, and frankly, we were hoping to point to the fact that there have been 2 licenses in these 2 facilities, the one where Gina's Canteen is located, as well as this facility, for probably the better part of 30 to 40 years. It was the Bullseye Sports Bar where Gina's moved previously, and I think that the fact that there have been 2 successful restaurant ventures in the area goes to show that there is a need for this establishment in this area.
Okay.
Furthermore, these applicants, I think, did show a need to the board when they I guess it's actually going on about a year and 6 months now ago, showed in the summer of 2019 the 2 licenses were appropriate, for one for this facility and one for the Gina's Cantina facility. So that's what I would proffer to address the need requirement. Mr.
Okay,
Dunn.
I just wanted clarification for that because you did indicate that the need for the establishment, and also in that you also stated the distance between that and other establishment within the location in and of itself. Mr. Dale, I have no other questions.
All right. Thank you, commissioners. If there are no other questions for commissioners or additional testimony from the applicant or applicant's counsel, we will close the public record. And
Mr. Dales, I hate to interrupt you, but could someone give me the hours of operation?
I apologize. I had that on my list and then I blew right over it. This is going to be mainly a lunch and dinner establishment. They're not going to get into breakfast or hot dogs for breakfast. So it's going to be approximately 11 a.m. In the mornings until 2 a.m. Likely that 2 a.m. is only going to be on Fridays and Saturdays, but we'll just put it in as 11 to 2 are the hours of operation.
all right, and I'm glad you interrupted, Ms. Agner, because I should also ask whether or not there's been any public testimony, written testimony offered on this, Mr. Aronson. You're muted, but that looked like a no.
No.
Yes, there was no public testimony submitted.
All right, so we'll close the record for public testimony, move to deliberation and decision by the board members.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we grant the Poor Dog House a license and approve that. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is carried. Congratulations. Good luck.
Congratulations.
I look forward to seeing all of you and your dogs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Duffy. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night. Stay safe. The next case will be Wildflower. This is KA, or known as Wildflower LLC. Christine Gunther, managing member. The inspector for the establishment will be Inspector Deschamps. This is a new license. It's located at 1460 Ritchie Highway, Suite 107 in Arundel, Maryland, zip code 21012. It's a Class GB, new category of license known as gift basket permit. Anyone wishing to testify for or against, please raise your right hand. Okay, and repeat after, or just acknowledge, do you solemnly declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely, I do.
Okay, thank you very much. Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, I am Christine Gunther, residing at 1103 Broadview Drive in Annapolis, Maryland, 21409.
Thank you very much. This is Chief Harris turning it over to Mr. Dales, Board Counsel.
Thank you very much. Ms. Gunther, are you represented by counsel tonight, or are you going to represent yourself?
I'm going to represent myself tonight. Thank you.
All right, so it's your floor to present to the board your case for the application, either by your own testimony or proffer, or calling anyone else that you want testimony for you.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Chairman and board, for hearing my application tonight. I'm very grateful to see you all again this evening. As some of you may know, since 2016, my company Wildflower has been operating a full service floral and gift boutique. And in 2019, just over 1 year ago, we opened a new location in Arundel Station with our goal to materialize a more luxury floral and gifting destination. I had mentioned before that a trend we've seen in a lot of major cities is the pairing of floral with upscale wines and beers and other gifts and gift assortments for people to purchase and deliver as a complete gift for their gift recipients. So last fall, we came before this board in pursuit of a Class A license in order to help achieve our vision of bringing this to the local market. I think we were all in agreement that that license was not exactly suited to our goal as a business, but we didn't have any clear lane within the law here in Anne Arundel County or the state of Maryland for us to be able to move our business goals forward. So very excitedly, during this past legislative session, with the combined sponsorship of Maryland House Delegate Nicholas Kipke and Maryland State Senator Pam Beidel, we had the Maryland House pass House Bill 714 for the creation of the gift basket permit to allow businesses such as ours to sell alcohol as part of a gift assortment. So I excitedly come before you today with the support of the Maryland legislature, as well as the endorsement of the local Alcoholic Beverage Licensees Association, who has been instrumental in working with us to create a solution that's a win-win for alcoholic beverage retailers, as well as businesses like ours. We are excited to come before you for this new law and to be a part of changing the law in Anne Arundel County, and also as a way to boost local retail at a time when local retail needs it the most. Just add at the end that before floristry, I spent 13 years in restaurant general management and oversaw several licensed full service operations. So I have completed alcohol awareness courses like TIPS and Serve Safe Alcohol, as well as my husband, who is also a manager within our business, has also completed alcohol awareness courses. So we are comfortable and familiar with the responsibility that goes with holding such a permit. In addition to being an Anne Arundel County resident, homeowner, mother of 2 children, and a full-time active owner-operator in the business, I take this burden and responsibility very seriously, and I'm excited to move forward with your permission.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gunther. Mr. Aronson, I believe there was public testimony on this application sent in writing. One letter, maybe it was too late for the deadline, but one that did come in time. Could you just tell the board what that was for the record? You're muted, by the way.
You're muted.
Yes, we did receive 2 letters in favor, which was sent to the board and has been put into the record. There was one that we received this morning that unfortunately, because it was not 5 days before the hearing, it won't be in the record, but it will be in the file. So in file, there are three separate letters of, approving for the board to approve this license.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. So, Mr. Chair, to the members of the board, are there any questions for the applicant?
Yes, I would like to say welcome back. I
Thank you.
remember your testimony from the fall, and I remember the passion that you had about the project that you were trying to undertake. And I think it all worked out, I think, in the end. So I wish you well. I have no questions at this point.
All right, Commissioner Duffy.
No, I have no question. I just want to compliment Kristen for her very well put together package, and wish you success on your endeavor. So again, thank you very much.
All right, so it sounds like we'll close the.
I have no other comments or questions.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Duffy, and we'll close the record for public testimony and move to deliberation decision by members of the board.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we award or approve the first GB liquor license in the county. And we approve that, and looking for a second.
I definitely second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Very much in favor. Yes.
Well, the motion is carried. Congratulations and good luck.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck. Yes.
Well presented.
Thank you.
Very well presented.
Yep. That concludes our last hearing.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is a motion to.
Yeah, excuse me. I move that the hearing be adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, a second and
thanks, Martin.
you just have to get it. That was a motion to adjourn the hearing. We just need a second.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, those in favor?
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion's carried.
Aye.
Closed.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Be safe.
Right.
Stay safe.